I truly believe in, and it's vision boarding. I talk about it all the time at home. My mom will say, I was coming up and I said, well, did you vision board it? Anyway, this is my vision board. I like vision boarding. I don't know if you can really see very well. I said I was going to print it out, and then I just didn't because I wanted color and we didn't have any color ink. So basically why I like vision boarding is because it gives you a way to kind of see what you're working toward and also look back periodically on kind of where you've come from. So I'm not going to talk about all of it, but I am going to talk about a few points. Just because, so for me, I have a really bad habit of focusing on what I can only see and what's going wrong or what I only see in the moment. But I like this because I can go back and see, now I see why, or look what happened that I'm not even paying attention to. So one I really want to talk about was this one at the bottom. This is GHP. So basically, GHP stands for Governor's Honors Program. It is this 4-week summer-long program where they get the top kids in the state to go like a pre-college program in their area. So to apply, you have to be nominated, and I was nominated in science and social studies. And I got selected to represent my school when I applied. I interviewed in February, but I didn't get accepted, which was really hard on me because I applied for science because that's what I wanted to do. And I didn't get accepted, but then my boyfriend did. And you know, that's kind of, and that's a little hard to deal with sometimes. Yeah. And I struggled for a long time, like, you know, I believed in this, I worked for this, like, why is this happening? But then, if that had worked out, this would have been the last week I was there. I would have been there starting July 15th, I believe. If that had worked out, then this picture wouldn't have happened. And this picture, for me, represented, because I want to be a doctor. That's what I want to do. I want to do surgery. So I was able to get the opportunity to actually shadow my surgeon, the one who operated on me. Mm-hmm. So every Wednesday from like 9 to 3-ish, I've been going into clinic with him, watching him do things, treat patients, give shots, all the things. And that would not have happened had I gotten into Governor's Honors like I thought I wanted to. Wow. And I still would say this one came true because I didn't interview for it, you know. But then if that happened how I thought it was, what I pictured it happening, then that wouldn't have happened. Something else that would not have happened is this one. Now this one says yoga, Pilates, and bar. So you all know I had 2 hip surgeries, kind of changed my life. And something after my second surgery, my physical therapist said, if you're looking at dancing again, we should really get you into things like Pilates and yoga to just help rebuild a lot of that strength, since I can't train anymore and dance, which is actually really great, honestly. My mental health way up here. But something that's been really great for me is I was in class actually last Monday, and I've been thinking about getting my certification either in yoga or Pilates, and I just kind of let it go. But then I was in yoga, and my instructor, they were talking like, yeah, we've been looking for someone else to do it, and she was joking with someone else, and then she got really bright-eyed, turned and looked at me and said, oh my God, you should do it. You should get certified, you should come teach. And I kind of took that as a sign, and I prayed about it. So I've actually, last week, I started working on my certification. And on Wednesday, I met with the director of fitness at the Y, and once I'm certified, I have a job lined up. So
Teach us at the church.
Which, I mean, when we don't do all the spiritual stuff, it really is just purely stretching. You know.
We can do that.
And I'm telling you, one thing I like about it a lot is because God has given me so many life-changing revelations in yoga. Like, I've been in downward dog and thought, oh my gosh, that's why that happened. It's like, so those are like the big ones I wanted to talk about. And the reason I want to say that is sometimes it's so easy to get caught up in what we picture something looking like. I saw something last night on Pinterest that said, I'm so thankful that I didn't get what I thought I wanted.
There you go.
You know,
Yeah.
I said how my injury changed my life because I thought I wanted to be a professional dancer. I was going to go through high school, go to college, do all the things. But then I got stopped in my tracks, and I went through a really hard phase with that because I couldn't see why.
Yeah.
But then right before school started back up, you know, I was still on crutches when I went to school. Like, I had surgery like 6 days before. And I remember sitting on my bed, I was just scrolling through TikTok, and there was this girl talking about she was talking about Egypt and the Israelites. And I really, through that, God was telling me, dance was your Egypt.
Yeah.
And I had to bring you out of that. And there were so many things that, like, one, after I kind of got through that dark place, I became so much happier of a person. My grades last year I jumped class rank, because I was homebound most of my ninth grade year. I wasn't in person. So my class rank jumped that year. And then I took my first AP classes, and I was awarded the AP Scholar Award, which means I passed all my AP exams 3 or higher on all my exams. And so again, if that hadn't happened, one, I probably wouldn't be able to take the classes because I would be dancing at school and I wouldn't have time to perform well in them. That was a big thing. And something else that happened was I got into theater at the end of last year. And I did my first production. I was the mermaid. I sat on a little rock and I spoke in one scene. And so that was a really big deal for me to do that. It's actually the show that got my boyfriend and me together. So it's been like and I made so many friendships in that and it opened so many doors for me. Because in the spring when I was in the musical, I got to be dance captain. And I got to do it with one of my very close friends that I've been dancing with for years. But again, if I had been dancing, I would never have gone that way in the first place.
That's right.
And I couldn't see it at the time. But God knew that was happening.
He did.
And then actually, little spoiler alert, for our one act in the fall, I've been asked to help do some choreography for it as well, which has been like a lifelong dream of mine. But again, if I had only seen, and I tell people a lot, and they ask me about it, I say, I like doing it through drama because I've been able to do less and go further than I did when I was dancing, full-time and training and all the things. And I think something too I have a bad habit of, I said, is comparing myself a lot. And I'm like, oh, but then this didn't happen how I wanted to, and this person's doing this, and this person's doing this. But there's this story I learned about in my art history class, where Raphael, he was a big famous painter. He was painting this incredibly famous painting called The School of Athens, across the street from where Michelangelo was painting the Sistine Chapel. And both works are incredibly successful. But it was one of those things that I'm kind of talking about, was like, if they had, I felt, when I was thinking about this later on, was if they had been worried about each other, then they never would have produced their own work. You know, and that's something that really spoke to me was, it's not that what I'm doing isn't good enough or isn't wrong. It's that God has a different plan for me. You know, like there's a bigger picture to what He wants to do in my life. And there's this girl I follow on TikTok, she says this incredible saying, she says, any opportunity that is meant for me will not pass me by. And that really kind of helped get me through my GHP rejection. All that was being told, there's something else greater for you. And then I had 2 big vision board moments come true for me that I didn't know, because I didn't know. You know, all I saw was that, but then God saw this. You know, and they're just, I think, I know I've said this so much, but it's so easy to focus on what we see and on the bad. And I'm like, you know, there are still things that have happened in my life that I don't know why they happened. But I've had to come to the place where it's like, I don't know why it happened. But I know there's a reason, there's a purpose for it. There's something I kind of say a lot now, it's turn your pain into your purpose. You know, if I had never gotten injured, I wouldn't be going to school next fall going pre-med to be a doctor. You know, that's something that I didn't even see for myself.
Wow, come on.
And then now, like, that's what I'm going to do with my life, and I've been open to so many doors to pursue it.
Yeah, praise God.
It's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And something biblically that I think helps give a reference, in the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, when Lot was told to leave, his wife, they were told, instructed specifically, do not look back.
Right.
But his wife did. Obviously, she became a pillar of salt. It's like she couldn't move forward. And to me that spoke, if we only look at what's happened and on the past, we can't move forward.
That's right.
You know, there are pictures of what they believe is her as the pillar of salt still standing all these years later, thousands of years later, because she could never move forward past that. And in the book of Esther, we talk about Haman. He was this big royal official. He could never appreciate what he had because all he could care about was the one person who wasn't doing what he wanted to do.
That's right.
And again, it's so hard. I know sometimes all we can think about is what's going bad and what's going on. That we can't see what's going on around, like, that's bigger than us. and even things that God sees happening as gifted us, but we can't see it
That's right.
sometimes.
That's right.
And it's one of the things that you kind of have to pray just to like, God, let me see what you're doing in this and what's outside of me and what's bigger than me in all of this.
Yes, that's
Yes,
awesome.
amen.
Yes.
Come on.
It's good.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Sure.
much it. Short and sweet.